motion at all because everybody's asleep. We'll move on to item number 35, reports informational. Reports on mule deer efforts within each county. County Advisory Board members, Mr. Wellington mentioned he had something, and we'll see if anybody else had something.
Thank you again, Ken Wellington, for the record, Elko County. Several things. The overpasses and underpasses are almost all done out there on 93. They're looking real good. I don't know if we've seen anybody moving over them or underneath them or anything else yet, but I know the fencing's getting finished up and it's looking real good. Second of all, the second part of the plan I was talking to you about with the sheep, our board decided in June to submit something on that also. And we kind of submitted them under emergency predator projects to try to get them in place for this winter. And trying to work with the department, and I know, like I says, Kevin Lansford had left, and so we're going to try to bring it to the management board. And what we were looking at is targeting the Ruby Mountains to start with. Again, because of the selenium and the cobalt, and there's other minerals that they're lacking out in that area that we know are missing. I've worked with Ranchi. One of the guys on my board is Tom Barnes. He's been helping you guys with the Mule Deer Restoration Committee. And we spoke to him about what exactly we could do. Well, we had the does that were taken off 2 years ago out of the 900 doe population, whatever. We have a lot of data coming in on that and what they were missing mineral-wise. And again, I think we're at the selenium, the cobalt stuff. Those things were not in their diets. So what we thought about in this plan is we submitted a generic plan to put it out for the Green Mountain, Harrison Pass area, that wintering range for the Ruby herd, to try to increase that herd. And what we'd like to do is we also threw in there collaring, so we can do some monitoring over maybe a year or two to see if the herds are set on where the collars were, try to pay attention to those with the predator control on the collared groups that are sent out. That's our intent, and it's kind of open at this point. We wanted more input, and as soon as I think we get it up and running or get somebody back into that position, we have the manpower to do that. We can look at it and bring it back and take some input on that. But anyway, with that, that's where our board is sitting at this time.
Excellent. Mr. Lent, question?
I have a question. You know, I think it'd behoove your group to try to get as much education as you can. I heard of a report out there, and I haven't read it, but there is some research out there, like what this one I read, acid rain is causing the plants to not do the uptake of selenium, and that's why the foliage is depleted of selenium because of that. And there was a paper out in there, and I got it from the head of the sheep group in Wyoming, and he read it, but I didn't read it. So there's some technical papers out there, research science, that Google them or however, but maybe you can start looking at some of those to see if we can find some answers to this.
I would do that. I'm not a biologist, but I'll take a look at that anyway, because I'm curious about that stuff. And so I will also bring that up with the department personnel, so maybe we can double research that, see if there might be another solution. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Calvin.
Thanks. I'm not sure, you're talking about a project, are you talking about a proposed like heritage project, or how is that going to be implemented?
Well, I think that's what we're probably going to turn it into at this point, because I don't know if we'll be able to. I went outside of the realm on this one. Our board kind of thought outside the box. And the problem is it's not just all predator management with that. We're talking about selenium supplements. We're talking about collaring and monitoring. There was more in there than just predator. Calling Wildlife Service said, hey, go out and kill the coyotes. There was more than just that within our plan. However, because of the sheep die-off and the mule deer problems, what we thought we would do is kind of go outside that box and try to do it while we were outside of the heritage project. And I wanted to try to get those projects up and running before this winter, because we need it now. And so that was our thought process with it. And again, I don't know if I know heritage funds, those will be coming back up. So if we don't get it approved as predator, then we'll be bringing it, but then we're behind the ball another year. So, thank you.
Mr. Vogler?
get somebody like Rangan to put your selenium salts together. Some of the selenium salt blocks don't have enough selenium for sheep. And they make granules. I don't know if they make blocks. Blocks would probably be easier to dump out of a helicopter. But it's specially formulated. I used to get 50 chronics every year. The lambs grow so fast that they act like they got busted backs. And you give them 1 cc of Bosie and they run off. So I started giving all my sheep selenium salt. It took a couple of formulations, and when they finally got it down, I haven't had a selenium problem in my sheep for 10 years.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I know that we talked that there was a company in Texas that does it to what we ask for the salt blocks.
Get it specific for sheep. If you want to do some experiments on it, don't, because the cattle is different, and a cow will consume more salt off of a block, et cetera, et cetera. If you get it formulated for sheep, you'll be on the right track. But if you just go buy selenium salt that's formulated for cows, you won't get enough in your sheep.
I think we'll have some data from the deaths and from the 900 doe hunt stuff. I think there'll be enough data there that we can figure out what we need there without affecting ranching within the area. So that's what they told me. Thank you.
Do we have anybody else? Mr. Lytle.
Real quickly, Corey Lytle, Lincoln Cab for the record. We had our draft county, management plan for mule deer. We presented that to you guys several months ago. We talked about it at length at our last meeting. I'm looking at some revisions with some input from some of the other CAB members, and there were a couple other public members there that had some input on it. I would like to kind of coincide that with some of the mule deer committee work that's going on and that will be finalized here in the next, hopefully, month or two. We'll kind of work on that. Some other things that we're doing just locally, we're working on some water projects with some volunteers, trying to develop some water projects with some landowners and some water rights holders. We're looking at opposing the old wind project that's on Table Mountain, Mount Wilson. That's kind of getting heated up. And then the third thing we're doing is trying to support every little thing that might relate to some kind of a wild horse gather. These things are getting tougher and tougher, and so that's the main things that we've got going on in our county, trying to support wild horse gatherers and the energy stuff and our plans. So that's about it.
Mr. Lent?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Corey, I just want to thank you for all the aggressiveness you and your board have taken down there. You're one of the premium county advisory boards in the state.
We're trying. I need one more member. We're finding another member too, so we'll get a full board hopefully by December.
Mr. Dixon, what you got Clark County have?
Corey's premium, I think I'm the Oktoberfest, a little stronger. Sorry about that, Corey. I have a question for the chairman. For your mule deer subcommittee, I've been asking a couple of emails to know when your draft report would be out for county advisory board. Look at what we've seen when you have your meetings is kind of a one-pager that explains, in one action item about 25 things that you want to cover, talk about. We've not seen any of the actual write-up of where your committee's headed with that. And the committee's been in existence now for over a year, and we were kind of wondering when we were going to see some product from that committee.
Sanquist is reports on mule deer efforts within each county. I don't think we're getting off the subject here. So what do we have for Clark County?
Clark County, as you've heard in the past, does not have a mule deer subcommittee. We've been waiting to see what comes out of your committee, and that's why I'm asking the question, sir. If you have no answer, then just say I have no answer.
We've gone over this somewhat before. If you have some input to that final product, that'd be fine. We plan on getting it out within the next couple months. We have a meeting tentatively scheduled, and hopefully we'll have more or less final product at that point in time.
When we were in the Ely meeting, and I attended that meeting with you, sir, you told me that before the August meeting, you'd have drafts out. It's now October, and we don't have drafts.
That was
so
the plan at that point in time.
just
Committee is
asking.
made up of many members. That's the committee decided.
Well, you're chairman.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And when I set up gave that instruction for the committee, I'll reiterate it. I sent a direction out to all the cabs if they wanted to give input back to the commission to see what we could do. We expected all the cabs to give input back to the commission. Some cabs have elected not to do it. And this is their opportunity to try to come up with, help the commission make a decision. It wasn't the other way around where we make the decision and send out the cabs for approval. We want input from the cabs, from the people who are out there in the lowlands or in highlands that are down to earth and they're out in the field, could come up with some suggestions for the commission so we can establish a policy. That was the intent when I set up the deer committee. We wanted input from the cabs, not vice versa. And I said that last month also. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and possibly the month before that. All right. Do we have anybody else from cabs? I do know I saw on that Eureka was going to have a special meeting here coming up. I know they're talking about more of what they had on the last time they reported. They have another meeting about thinning trees around spring heads, and they're trying to do some work there with the BLM to try to get that facilitated. All right. So let's go on.